Just
Adam may not make it. He's hoping he might, but apparently he's got issues at work. So,
Yeah.
I understand that. I was having a hard time moving through my issues at work yesterday when I heard Rick make a weird exclamation, and I went out back to find a tree had just fallen in our garden.
oh
Like
no.
a big tree, like several story high tree.
Oh
Oh.
no.
Aspen. I guess it kind of rotted from the inside, but it fell on my basil. That was my main concern.
Oh, wow.
Oh no, not that.
Well, now I have several cups of pesto made
Yeah.
last night. Had to go pick that, and then when Rosina, my granddaughter, came over, they helped me get under the tree to get the parsley. Rick
You
is
have a
so
fireplace?
well, I have an outdoor pit. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
really a little punkier than I thought it would be, and
Uh.
the wood itself isn't as bad as the bark is really bad. So clearly it was in distress, and the leaves are a strange color, brown in places, like veins of brown. So I
Ah.
don't know enough about trees, but I thought, oh, good, a hurricane's coming, and they're falling already. It wasn't even raining yesterday. We're in trouble. We're all in trouble. So Billy, you're going to be at the Cape during the Bill Bynum. Are you going to be at the Cape during the storm?
During the storm. It looks like it'll be gone by the time we get there, which is a couple of weeks away. So
Oh, okay, all right, okay, yeah. I think it'll be gone by midweek in a week.
Yeah.
So
yeah, we have been there during a big storm in the past. So, we couldn't arrange that this time, apparently.
Oh no, there's another one out in the Atlantic, so don't worry.
Yeah, there's always more. You just
always
don't
more
know.
this time
No,
of year.
little storm machine out there.
Yeah, really. Sorry to say. Yeah.
Well, when I lived in Newport, I lived through two, so I don't need any more.
No.
No, my dad, I mean, I grew up hearing the stories of the storm in 1938, you know,
Oh yeah.
how it devastated eastern Massachusetts and Connecticut, Rhode Island, you know, kind of thing.
Yep.
So yeah, we've been through some bad ones, but hope this won't be. Hope this goes off.
We'll hope. We'll hope.
I should also say I'm having some computer problems, so it's like flashing at me now. So hopefully I won't have, if I get off, I'll come right back on or try to, but yeah.
Okay.
Anyway,
We'll let you right back in.
Thank you. Just to warn you. I may just disappear unintentionally.
Okay.
Your picture isn't doing anything, so.
Say that again.
Your picture isn't doing
anything. It's not
anything.
flashing. Okay, because occasionally you all are flashing. So okay. As long as
No, you're nice and steady.
I'm steady. Yeah, thank you, David. Neither flashing and I'm steady. Good. Okay.
Not predictable, but steady.
Yeah, right. Definitely never predictable.
Well, that's just
Thank
as
you,
well.
Bree. All right.
All right. Good. Questions? Or how was your head roll?
I'm not sure if my head roll's bigger or smaller, bigger than it should be or not. But I was noticing I'm getting some sort of swaying along with my head roll, which as I'm trying to involve the whole spine, and
we'll
everything's yeah. Go ahead.
So actually, I'll talk about both of those things today. But you do want to start large until you really fully feel and understand this movement. But eventually you want to make it as small and tight as possible. But you don't want to rush into that. That's a year or two or more down the road. So just don't worry about making it small. That will come with time. We are going to look at really the rest of the elements of movement 7 today, which does involve some torso movement. But so we'll get to that. So the instinct of your body was correct, Bill. I just we'll want to be a little more specific perhaps than it may have been. So, any other questions or issues or? Okay.
Like with everything, it's putting it all together too, right? It's just
Oh, yeah.
aspects of it. And I mean, some pieces I feel like, yeah, I've got that. And other pieces I'm like, okay. Or it comes and goes. So, but that takes time. So I don't have a particular question, I don't think.
Okay.
Well, I think actually Bill's was helpful because in rereading the notes, I kind of felt like it was both move things in a small amount, but also, a little swaying. So you'll answer that today, I'm sure. Or if not, by the end of today, we'll ask. We'll have time for questions.
Well, we'll try to make time for questions because I think that's important.
Yeah.
So, oh, there's Adam. So we'll just pause here a moment. Hey, Adam.
Hey guys, sorry I'm late.
No.
Work. Yeah.
I'm glad you could make it at least for now.
Yeah, I'll probably turn my camera off and listen and watch as I'm able, okay?
That's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine. We're glad to have you here.
Glad to be here.
Do you have any questions about the head roll as you've done it so far?
No.
Okay.
No.
In that case, we don't have cranes in America, but they are all over China. But we do have flamingos who have that same kind of a neck. And so we have to deliberately get the vertebra to stretch when we're doing this, so that to stretch up and then tuck the chin under so that you have that sense of keeping the extension of the vertebra going. And so that's how we start with this. But how do you get your head to bend to the side and backwards? So when you bend to the side, which we're going to want to do with movement 7. So if you've done the crane neck, and then you're going to bend to the side, there is the sense of extending from your ear through the crown of your head. And then, of course, going forward is extending the vertebra in the back of your spine. And on the other side, you're going to extend up from the ear through the crown of your head. And then there is a backward stretch, which opens the vertebra in the front of the spine. So that part of going backwards is for many of us, the more difficult part. And you want to really make sure that you are not just collapsing and bending back, because that does nothing. It has to have the extension and hold that connection to the front of the spine, so that as you bend back, you do actually pull the vertebra, the front of the vertebra in your neck, at least in your neck, and eventually dip further down into your spine. And that's not something, obviously, that we normally do. So you have to, yeah.
David, can you say something right in here about keeping the chin tucked while you're moving the head back?
So that you're keeping that extension of the head. So you want to think, we start this from the crane's neck.
Yep.
So you have the crane's neck, and then as you're rotating to the side, you're extending here.
Yeah.
And as you go forward, that's not a problem because that's our normal crane neck. Here you're extending here.
Yeah.
And then you keep that, but the head does go back, but you don't lose the crane neck. Okay?
Okay. Well, the chin wants to go out.
But if you do that, then you're just going in, then you're just
Right.
bending.
Right.
You're not actually making the connection. If I just bend my head back, I don't feel virtually anything happening on the front of my spine.
Right.
Whereas if I have gone into the crane neck and maintained that extension, when I go up here, I can feel that pulling right up through here.
Okay.
So you want to feel that stretch in as you go through each of those positions.
So are you achieving that by sort of straightening up or opening the vertebrae, like halfway between the shoulder blades kind of thing? You know, you're opening all the vertebrae a little bit to achieve that motion in the front.
You're going to feel it principally in the cervical spine and a little bit as it comes down into the thoracic. You probably are not going to feel it way down at the moment.
Okay.
With just this much of the movement. There's another piece, a couple more pieces, of course.
You need one of those spine things, that skeletons that
Well, as I hope I'm making clear that this movement, where now you are thinking about bending and extending at the same time, this is taking us a step further than we had gone with the head roll before. Because we really hadn't we talked about feeling the connection to the spine, but now we want to literally feel it. And one of the things is that when you go to the side, you actually are feeling all the vertebra open. And when you go forward, you're principally feeling the vertebra in back, but you don't want to close off the front. So that's part of why you don't want to just drop the head. That's obviously not what we're doing here. And going to the side, again, you're opening all of the vertebra. And when you go back, one of the hard parts here is to make sure that you don't close off the back. It closes down slightly, but you're principally opening the front. Does that lead more questions?
No,
No, no, I just,
to me, that's helpful. Yeah, I didn't, yeah,
Mhm.
but we all think of it differently or see it differently.
yeah. So I said all of that. So what I'd like you to do is stand up and try this.
Oh,
So you want to begin by extending the spine and forming your crane neck. And then begin to bend first to the side. Feel everything open, and then go forward, keeping that crane neck, but feeling the back of the spine principally. Going to the other side, everything opens up through the ear to the crown of the head. And then as you go back, keeping the crane neck, don't close off entirely, but open the front. So do this slowly a little bit. Just see what you can feel. So for the moment, Bill, try to keep your torso still.
Which Bill?
Oh, Bill Bynum, excuse me. So Bill Bynum, I would say let yourself make the movement a little bit larger. And definitely for you too, Bill Nagel,
Larger?
larger. Let yourself really move the neck. You're not tensing it up. You're just extending all those vertebrae. You're opening them up. You can let it be a little larger too, Joanne, and don't let your torso collapse.
Yeah, I know, I'm feeling that, yeah.
Yeah. You might try circling the other direction,
Hmm.
as we do this in both directions. Okay, just pause and relax. So tell me what you were experiencing.
I wouldn't say it was very defined, but I could feel a, a different stretch from the side to the front to the back. Yeah.
Good. Yep, that's good. Joanne?
Yeah, I could feel my body collapsing in a way that even though I felt like I could as Bill said that I could feel I felt like I was stopping and starting, and so that was both because I was trying to observe, but then I felt like I should probably not be stopping and starting so much. That there's more of a flow. And so I was focusing on that and then realized that my body was collapsing between kind of the tuck and the C curve and all of that. So
Yeah.
clearly I pay more attention to that.
So that's that's part of this. That this movement is. I mean, my feeling is, if you thought 3 was difficult, you don't know what difficult is, because now we've
Right.
got 7, and it's really important that we do this as well as possible. Because there is the potential for a negative impact if we do it really wrong. So we want to be really careful. That's one reason why I'm really looking forward to all of you, or most of you, coming here in a couple of weeks so that I can actually see you and even put my hands on you if I need to help you really feel this. Bill Bynum, do you have a comment or question?
Yeah, well, I feel like I'm getting on some kind of a new track with it, because I'm in touch with the spine from this level up doing this,
Good.
which is real interesting. I mean, it's a lot different than our old head roll, obviously, as you've said many times, but
Yep.
and I would not say that 3 was hard. I'd say 3 is hard.
Yes, it is. You're absolutely right. I'll stand corrected. Okay. So another thing that's going to be going with this is that if you could do this with the vertebra of your neck, that's great. But even if you can't do that when you do this, there's another thing that goes along with it. Along the front of your spine, you have a very long ligament that goes all the way from top to bottom. And there's another one that goes all the way from top to bottom in the back. These are the anterior and posterior longitudinal ligaments. And what you're trying to do is that you want to stretch those ligaments as well as stretching the vertebra open. So as you go into the crane neck, obviously you're stretching the ligament in the back of the spine. And you continue to stretch in the back as you go forward. And then as you begin to go up on the side, you're stretching the ligament in front. And as you go back, you're stretching the ligament in the front. And then you begin to stretch the one in back. and so on. So that also is going on at the same time here. And for some people, it's easier to connect with the ligaments than it is with the vertebra. Although you all seem to me to be making some good, at least beginning contact there. So you're activating those ligaments, and those ligaments activate your spine and will also cause everything in your body to open and close. So I'd like you to try this again and see if you can also get some sense of stretching the anterior and posterior longitudinal ligaments. So this, of course, is related to keeping that bend. We're not letting go of the bend. We're adding to it. So Bill Bynum, what I'm feeling is that you are moving your whole torso rather than focusing on the neck.
I wasn't feeling that, but
Well,
yeah, okay.
At the moment, see if you can allow the torso to simply sit there in its comfortable position and really focus around the stretching and bending of the neck. That's better. Okay, relax. It was looking pretty good, Joanne.
I could feel it all the way down,
Yeah,
back, yeah.
you were getting more movement um, and you weren't collapsing.
Right.
No, that was good.
Thank you.
Either Bill, what happened for you?
It felt similar to the previous time we were up and doing it. I would say when I move my head back, I feel some whatever it is that's stretching or moving out from to about here.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know whether that's a sign that I'm doing something right, wrong, or irrelevant.
It sounds right to me.
Okay.
I still felt that you could use a larger neck movement, but that may be something that will develop for you as you get more comfortable with the movement.
Okay.
Mr. Bynum?
Yeah, well, I was trying to get in touch with the ligaments. I don't think I was very successful at doing that.
Well, that's okay.
Yeah.
You know, I just really want you to be aware of that connection, and eventually you will feel that. But I understand if that connection didn't click for you immediately. That's okay. Don't worry about it. But keep it in the back of your mind as you do this. So the other piece of this, which actually may make it easier for you in some ways, because is that there is a movement of the torso, but we are not moving from the qua.
Mm.
We're moving from the waist, the midriff. So without doing a head roll with it at the moment, just notice that I'm rotating from the midriff.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not rotating from the qua. If I were using the qua, this is the movement. I don't know if you can see the difference, but you want to really isolate. The qua doesn't move, but you are going to pivot here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's see. So you're simply, well, yeah. Bruce liked to say that as you're doing that rotation at the quad, that you're accordioning backwards, sideways, and forward. I'm not sure whether that word works for you or not, but you want to rotate there, and it's very important that you don't collapse there. That's what you have to be aware of, is that you're simply rotating there as you're doing the neck movement. So as you're doing this with your spine, you also can roll your waist, and you will have what's in the spine go much more deeply inside the body. And that is using the midriff. But when you use the midriff, you have to have a sense of the midriff connecting all the way to your armpits and down to your qua. That is what is important. You don't want to make your midriff like a vertebra which you're rotating around, wearing it out. You want to have the midriff connect to the rest of the body and all the way up and all the way down. So now we want to think about this whole movement So one of the things I wanted to say was that you're in your base level. You're not here. You're in that relaxed place so that you can let relaxation be part of this. And it does start from extending the neck up and into the crane neck. And then you start that rotation, and you are both rotating from the midriff and on up through the neck, so that you are opening everything here. Remember, you want to have that sense of opening the whole spine, all of the vertebra, and then here principally in the back, and here again all of them, and here principally in the front. So the movement contains that rotation at the midriff as well as the neck, and you want to coordinate both of them. And at the same time, of course, we have, as you do this, the arms are twisting in coordination with that movement, and the legs. So that may not all be happening at once, obviously, but give you a little idea there. So I'd like you to stand and try this full movement, seeing if you can connect the vertebra and the ligaments and the movement at the midriff. Yes? Is that a question? No.
There's a clearing of throat.
Oh, okay. Perfectly all right. And you might go the other direction. Okay, so I just wanted you to try that a little bit and see what I would say was it looked like all of you were doing better almost immediately, adding, rotating at the waist,
Mhm.
interestingly enough.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
How did it feel to you?
I wasn't sure I was rotating enough. At the midriff. However, what did I want to say? That helped me noticeably feel my arms twisting more. Yeah.
Yes.
Hmm.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can make them. I think you all can allow the movement to grow a little bit at this point.
Yeah.
Um, when I just say from my own experience, when I started, I was afraid of doing too much.
Yeah.
So,
Mhm.
so I was kind of holding on. But as I became more comfortable with it, I realized that I could allow myself to really feel each of those areas of stretching.
Yeah.
Um,
Certainly puts you in touch much more further down your spine than,
yes,
yeah. Yeah.
and that's part of the intention, obviously.
Yeah. It's down to the midriff. You can not so much below that, but maybe there's more to come.
Well, I found myself, I think for all three of these practices, and trying to be aware, I just found myself kind of having a stiff neck or stiffening my neck too much.
Yep.
So I think the only way I can really release that is to focus more on the top of my head and the bottom of my spine. I mean, if I don't do that, then I'm just kind of thinking about this one place in this one movement. So I
Yeah.
think that helps me kind of feel the whole spine. I know that both the bills have talked about kind of only feeling it so far down. And sometimes it's more obvious that it's all the way down for me.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm really trying to kind of see that holistically, because when I break it up into pieces, I just kind of tighten up in that part I'm thinking about. So
Yeah, it is important to allow yourself to really release and lengthen.
yeah, instead I'm pushing it out or something. I think
Yeah.
there's just something still going on, and it's been off and off on and off during the practice, but too much on today, and it's stiffening. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's pretty normal in the beginning. Yes. Oh, so any other thoughts just at the moment?
Not a thought, a question. With the rotation of from the midriff, does the body move front and back at all, or?
Well, yes, because now you are adding to the movement of the neck. So yes, there is a circular movement, of the whole torso from the midriff up.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I'm thinking of the accordion thing. So is your midriff twist is that slightly less than it's kind of a, I'm thinking of a, thing where, maybe the top's rotating a little bit further than the midriff, or is that not it?
Well, I think there is more flexibility in the neck than in the midriff. So yes, if you go too far with the midriff, you begin to collapse it and close the. Remember that there are cavities at the midriff, so you can actually shut down the movement of the energy through the torso by bending too much or collapsing at the midriff. So it what I don't know. I think as I demonstrated it, it was a pretty full movement.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't just a little limited movement. Excuse me. It's one of those things. It's kind of hard for me to work with on Zoom, I guess, in a way. But it's a real movement. I mean,
David, can you do it from the side?
I was just going to say, and I was going to, for a moment here, just stay really close. I need another pair of eyes. Unfortunately, that hasn't occurred. So, just thinking about this movement from the midriff. So, you were asking about the movement around. There is a circular movement. You can really go to the side, but this is not collapsing or pushing it down. It's simply rotating to the side and back. So you're trying to get that same circular movement here that you have in the neck.
Okay.
Did that help, Bill?
Yes.
Yeah. So it is either the midriff or the neck leading the rotation, or are they both simultaneous?
I want to say they're working together.
That's in between, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I don't think that one or the other of them is actually leading.
Okay.
I really do think it needs to be a coordinated movement between both areas. It's, I don't have a sense of either one leading particularly.
And
Mhm.
for whether this is
Yeah.
right or wrong, I found myself able to get the midriff thing by thinking about my shoulders as opposed to the quad,
Mhm.
So when I go in, and because when you do the midriff, the shoulders move, but I didn't realize that at first, so I was sort of keeping the 4 points. And
No, so that's a good point that we don't, this is the one place where we don't
We're
make
not
the
doing that.
4 points. Absolutely. Absolutely. Because we are focusing on rotating the spine.
yeah,
Uh-huh.
so
Yeah.
so I was kind of thinking my head should rotate just a little bit more than my shoulders come around, or else I'm not getting any rotation in
Yep.
the top.
The neck is bending and rotating more than the torso is, absolutely.
Uh-huh.
Particularly at this point, because you want the movement, you want to allow the movement to grow and be as large as it can be without overdoing and without causing you any discomfort. So, as I said earlier, eventually we want to make this movement as small as it can be, because that will condense the effect of it. But when you're trying to get it to be able to work to begin with, you want to make it as big as you can so you connect to everything in the body. But once you have connected through everything in the body, then you want to make it really tiny from the crown of the head. So at that point, so what I've just said is that at that point you're leading from the crown of the head. But that's not where you start. Okay. You've got to get the coordination first. This is the equivalent inside the body of a bolt and wrench. With each turn, you make it get tighter and tighter, and it gets tighter and tighter. And if it gets tighter and tighter, it's going to go deeper and deeper inside the tissue in every place in your body. And this is somewhat related to your personal capacity, your ability to bend forward, back, and sidewards. You could do it by primarily moving your anterior and posterior ligaments and letting them lead the way. Or you could have the vertebra of your spine lead the way. Or you can combine both of them happening at the same time, which is the better way. And that will simply take a while. So while tucking the pelvis is the ideal way to do this, in the beginning, I wouldn't really bother getting too focused on trying to roll your pelvis up that much. I would simply make sure that you get the anterior and posterior longitudinal ligaments working full bore. And once you have them working full bore, then the best thing to do is to tighten the circles you're doing. So this is an introduction to God's Playing in the Clouds Movement 7. Don't rush into this until you have first and fully understood the first 2 years of the installments in this training, which hopefully you do. I would really advise you against having the big ego of, I can do what I want to. It is your spine and your brain, and if you want to play around with them, well, I don't recommend it. I would much prefer that you do things in a safe way that will make you happy, rather than doing them in a foolhardy way that has the prospect to make you feel miserable. I would not recommend, as at this stage of the game, that anybody do this as a separate single movement. Put it at the end of your flow so that everything else in your body has warmed you up and integrated everything in you enough that you are not playing Russian roulette. Then when you get to the end of this year and we go through this movement again, I will discuss, if you were to do this as a single movement, when, how, and under what conditions that would be good. But I think you need to be doing this just as a part of the flow for several months before you will have enough awareness of this movement to know if you were going to do it, as a single movement, so that you knew how and when, or not how and when. So, we've run out of time. I've managed to use it all up.
Well,
So, last minute thoughts or questions?
Yeah, just out of
It-
curiosity, were we looking at the whole of movement 7?
Basically, yes.
Okay,
And do try to do it as I suggested, as a part of the flow.
right.
That can make a difference. Other questions or thoughts at the moment? Okay, well, thank you. And
when are we getting together? When is everybody able to get together in person?
2
You
weeks,
coming up, Bill
2
Bynum?
weeks from today.
2 weeks from today. Okay, just want to make
Correct,
sure
yeah.
I get this.
That the 26th, something like that,
27th.
27.
All
Yeah.
right.
Unfortunately, Mr. Nagel will be in Switzerland, so
Oh.
No,
poor Bill.
we could meet at Lake Lucerne.
Maybe.
Really? That would be a retreat, huh? Whoa.
Have
All
a
right, and hopefully Adam can do that. I can schedule that in. Yep. Mhm.
good. Bill, I hope you have a great trip.
Thank you.
How
We'll,
long will you be gone?
A couple weeks, leaving tomorrow, so.
Oh, wow. Okay, great.
Fine.
Enjoy.
good. So we'll see you on your return. See you guys next week.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks, David.
Bye-bye. And there's Adam.
I've been here the whole time. I'm listening and working here.
Okay.
I'll watch the recording tonight and try and play along then. Do a little exploring then.
Did you have any questions though?
I think my only question is what does are we building into something with 7? Is this the whole movement? Did I miss a primer on like what this looks like in the end, or are you saving the big reveal?
Yeah, right. I almost thought we were going to get the big reveal at the end, but we didn't. We got a lecture instead.
Oh darn.
Well, I'll be glad to demonstrate it, but what we are doing at the moment is externally, certainly, the movement is movement 7.
Okay.
There's some more internal work to come, but we haven't arrived at that yet.
Okay, I gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm trying. I don't think I'm withholding anything from you. I'd be glad to demonstrate it again
Yeah.
if that
I would be interested in that.
would be helpful to you. I
I
might.
understand where we're going.
I'm also because I meant to do this in the other part of the class, but I would like to talk a little bit about the transition from 6 to 7.
Mm.
And actually, it's pretty simple. when you're coming down from 6, you actually, when you arrive at the dantian, you just let the hands go out and you go into the crane neck and you simply flow into the whole movement.
Uh-huh.
So I don't think it's difficult to make that transition. It works pretty well.
Hmm.
Yeah, it looks pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But really, what's going on with this movement is mostly internal. I mean, we have what may feel like a strange external movement at the moment, but it's really what's going on inside that's really important.
Yeah.
And obviously, ultimately, we are working with the central channel here too.
Hmm. Hmm.
So 5 and 6 have been preparing us for that. So we'll come to that.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah.
So
I have a curiosity, maybe, I think, and I really understand what you said about don't do 7 before, unless you've done up the first ones. And then I just thought, well, just as you said, 5 and 6, I mean, it really does seem like there's really a whole process here that our body is going through, right? That we're kind of, even though some of them we may have practiced just 3 or whatever, that they all really are kind of
they all absolutely.
building on one another is not exactly what I'm thinking, but yeah.
But they they each connect and amplify
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
and deepen.
Yeah. Yeah. Deepen is probably, yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good word.
And I'll say this to you guys at the moment. I guess the Bills will hear this if they watch this part, but eventually, yes, the focus in 5 and 6 and 7 is getting into the absolute central channel, which is not just in the torso, but in the marrow of the bones of the arms and the leg. So,
Right, which I think the notes from last week make that clear.
yeah, well, we certainly talked about it.
Yeah, I mean, over the time, but I think just having reread them again, yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
right. I think that's helpful. Yeah,
So
right. Yeah.
that's where we're moving, what we're moving.
Uh-huh.
But it's also, I think it's really important to recognize that this movement really, when you can get all the connections there, that it really opens and closes everything in the body.
Uh-huh.
And I think it was probably this that made it possible, helped me to really feel opening and closing throughout the entire body.
Mm.
And to therefore be able, for instance, when I stand before doing the form, to just being able to open and close everything
Uh-huh.
while I'm standing,
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
which we haven't emphasized, but when I'm when I'm doing my own practice, that's how I start.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
And it's it's kind of, at first it feels kind of weird how the body will just, everything in it will just begin to do this.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So and I think for me, quite a bit of that certainly recently is developed through practice of gods.
Nice.
Anyway, so interestingly enough, other than the opening and closing, what we're doing with 7 doesn't really go into the form particularly. It,
Right. Yeah.
it does in the sense eventually of whole body movement, that we're working everything together, but movement 7 really is a separate world, a culmination of gods. So,
Uh-huh.
how's the third paragraph? Have any questions in the third paragraph?
No questions, David. I haven't really got to it in the last week, to be honest.
You must be having a very busy time there.
Yes.
I think that was an understatement.
Yes.
Good times. Good times at the new job.
Did you hear, Adam, that we're hopefully 2 weeks from today, we're going to gather here?
Yeah, I'm gonna put it on the calendar, and I think I should be able to make it.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I know it's not 100% in your control.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that's the, yeah.
But
So, um, so I really don't have anything else at the moment.
Mhm.
okay.
Yeah, no, I don't. I mean, I did get to it a little bit this week. I had some lower back problems, but I did go to the chiropractor and feel better. So
Good.
that makes it a little easier. It's just too distracting when some part of your body really hurts when you're doing it to even try, right? So I go back to God's was easier physically.
Yep.
But I think that yeah, I mean, it's coming back as I do it more, right? That I was happy with that, that it's, I guess it's like a bicycle, right? Kind of like, oh, like you think you've forgotten everything. Of course you haven't forgotten everything. And it doesn't take too much kind of, oh no, how did I do this again? Oh, yeah. I mean, I do have to say I have my crib sheet, but that doesn't have all of the details in it, but
Yeah.
but
Well,
yeah.
hopefully we can work on it a bit in a
Yes.
couple of weeks.
Yes.
That
Yeah.
would be great.
That would be great. That would be great. Yeah, that's part of my goal here is to, be able to do that. So,
Good. Good.
okay.
Well, have a good week.
Yeah.
Adam, I hope the pressure eases for you soon.
Thank you. I hope so too.
All right.
Yeah.
Take
Thank you,
care.
David.
Bye-bye.
Bye
Bye.
now.